Hello everyone, I'm Sean E, and on last Sunday's video, Dick Grayson asked, how do you come up with your lyrics, and could you give me any ideas on where you get inspiration from? So today I was hoping to go over a bit of the songwriting process regarding lyrics, refining them, subject matter, and inspiration for songs. So let's get right into it. So the most important part about writing lyrics is identifying what your subject is with whatever song you're writing, is knowing what the song is going to be about, what you're intending the song to be about, what the messages you want it to convey, what picture you want it to paint, or what idea you're trying to deliver or story you're trying to tell. Just a brief disclaimer, I'm sick, so apologies if my voice sounds nasally, and I'm going to give a few demonstrations, so apologies for my off-pitch voice as well. So the subject of the song is really important, and that goes hand in hand with what you're going to write your lyrics about. So what I do to figure out what my music's going to be about, or to choose a topic, this isn't what I do all the time, but one of the most common things that I'll do is derive it from the music. And what I mean by that is I'll write the music first, and I might not write all of the music for the song, but I'll write a lot of it, or some of it, maybe just a little, it doesn't really matter. But I write some chord progression, some riff, or something, and then I just kind of mumble and spew gibberish over it until my mouth spews out something I like. So when I wrote a ukulele lullaby, all I had was this riff, this little chord progression and strumming pattern that I was rolling with, and I just was singing over it until eventually I said, a ukulele lullaby is sung. And I was like, oh, it sounds great. A ukulele lullaby, that particular line, ukulele lullaby song, sounds really good over. And I decided, okay, so that'll be the title of the song, and then there I am writing a song about sleep, and just a sort of peaceful, relaxing process of sleeping, dreaming, nightmares, that sort of stuff. So I came up to a sort of insignificant topic, but one that was fun to write about for my first song on the ukulele. So that's how that came about. And so I derived the title from the music, from that little bit, and from the title I derived the subject. And so that's what I do a lot, is I'll find a chord progression or a riff, and I just mumble stuff over it until I get a line that sounds like a title, sounds like that could be a good title or working lyric for the song, and then I'll take that and work with it and figure out what could this line mean, or what significance could it hold, and I will go off of that. You can also just derive good lines from the music. It doesn't necessarily have to be a title, so while you're playing your music and trying to sing something over it, you might just happen upon a good line. Might not be something that's fit for a title, but it's a kick-ass lyric, so I would write that down or type it, as is more often the case, and then keep playing. And when I sing my gibberish now, I'm starting off with that line, and I'm going to continue singing gibberish after that line, and hopefully roll into something that makes sense, and again, at that point, I'll sort of be figuring out what I want the song to be based off of that one line I've come up with. Other ways you can figure out the subject, or pick a subject for a song, obviously the easiest one to do is to just write about how you feel, and a lot of times you might just be in a boring state of mind. When I wrote my first album, I mean, none of my feelings were particularly interesting. I mean, I'm a perfectly happy, satisfied senior in high school, things are going well. So to write interesting music, my first album was mostly about conveying different philosophical ideas. So that's what I chose to write about. But writing about your feelings is a great thing to do. Therapeutic, it helps you deal with your emotions, and that's what I've been doing a lot of lately, is writing about how I feel. So if you're feeling anything particular, if you're grieving over a loss, or if you're falling in love, or if you're lonely, whatever it is, try writing about it, and that's often a great way to write powerful lyrics that are compelling and that you're compelled to write. When you are writing about how you feel, you want to be sure as well to identify exactly what it is that you're feeling, otherwise your song might come out a bit confused and seeming like it lacks direction, so be sure you identify that if you're going to write a personal song about how you're feeling. Another great way to choose a subject for a song is to just look around, examine the world, its people, relationships between people, and that's a great way to to spark an idea or get some inspiration. Just seeing something that, oh, I could turn that into something a lot more complicated or interesting musically than it might seem at the surface. In a seminar I have in my freshman year of college about marriage, we were watching this show called Marriage at First Sight, and this couple, they were just laying down in bed, newly married couple, and it just made me think of how that would feel for two people happily married, and now they're just laying in bed together, kind of at a really nice stable point in life. And so that's something I'm writing about recently. I haven't finished the song or anything, but that's something I'm writing about. So that's just a great way to pick topics, is to examine things, think about things. Like I said, my first album that's really philosophical, it's all about examining things and thinking about things. My song Evaporate, that's not on this channel yet, although it is floating around on YouTube on an older channel. That song is about personifying a raindrop, and I'm singing from the point of view of a raindrop. And so it's just an interesting, weird thing to write a song about. So yeah, examine the world, people, relationships, and write about that. Once you've got your subject matter, what you want to write your song about, and you've started writing some lyrics, you definitely want to refine them and make sure that they're interesting and colorful, descriptive, and vivid lyrics. And that's the most important part, is making sure that your lyrics are actually good quality, because, I mean, honestly, even if you don't have a subject matter, you could still write lyrics that seem profound, they seem interesting. So the subject is important, that certainly, but you can get away with it if you're just writing interesting sounding lyrics. So you want to make sure that you're using some metaphors and similes in your music, and that's a great way to turn otherwise boring, bland sentences into something that sounds compelling and more artistic. So a few examples: in the song I uploaded, Thursday, The Land to Make You Disappear, a particular line in that song, I'm basically saying I sacrifice my integrity. So let's say we go to sing that line. I sacrifice my integrity. This sounds terrible, right? That doesn't flow with the song. So instead of that, as a metaphor, I say I assassinate myself. I assassinate myself because, etc. And again, I apologize for my voice. I'm tone deaf now. So make sure that you're using metaphors and similes, but you don't want to overuse them. Otherwise, your song's just going to be weird to listen to if it's all a bunch of metaphors. It's going to sound deliberately confusing and made to avoid the idea that you have no idea what your song is about. So you don't want to overuse them. I mean, if your entire song is filled with ideas and lines that would be better off as metaphors, then you definitely have to change your lines. Another great thing to do when you're singing along to the music, trying to think up a good line, is to change the key of the song. So, you can just play it in a different key if you're able to, or if you're playing on guitar or ukulele or something, you can just use a capo. That's obviously an easy way to do it. And the reason you would do that is because your voice might naturally fit better with a certain key, depending on what you're playing, and that's going to help you vibe with the music a bit better. So, like this particular little riff. I'm playing that, I'm actually writing that with the capo here, so the uke's in the key of D, but I feel my voice fits that key better than it does without the capo, playing it down here where it would be in the key of A. So do that, try messing around with the key. If you're on piano, you gotta play it in a different key, or if you're on a keyboard, it might have an option to transpose it, or you could just suck it up and learn the new keys, new chords and whatnot. So that's a good way to do it as well. You can get some interesting results that way. When you refine your lyrics, you want to make sure that you're avoiding cliche, overused rhymes. That's really important, because if you don't avoid these, then your lyrics are going to sound like a third, fourth, or fifth grader wrote them. I've been writing lyrics, songs, poetry for quite a while now, over a decade. I'm 18, by the way. When I write a line that I think I could see myself writing that line a decade ago, not a good line. You gotta change something. So if one of your lines ends in all, you probably don't want to rhyme with fall, right? Or if you if your line ends with a round, maybe you want to avoid falling down. You know, just these cliche, overused little phrases in music. Falling down, fall, those, tear me apart, heart, start, fly, high. You know, just these rhymes that are painfully predictable. You want to avoid them unless your line as a whole, because obviously there's more to the line than just the last word. If your line is really creative and a really solid line, then you can get away with it because it's not going to be as predictable if the rest of the line is actually a solid, interesting line. Then the rhyme's not going to be as predictable, and even if it is predictable, the rest of it being so great and colorful is going to balance out, and it'll be okay. But definitely want to avoid those cliche lines when you're writing about your feelings. Love especially, falling into cliche overused lines is really easy, so be sure you don't do that. Make sure when you're writing to also avoid words and rhymes that don't vibe with the song. So if you're writing a serious song, don't use the word fun. That's just a general rule of thumb for me, is I almost never use the word fun in my music. I find that as soon as you throw the word fun in a song, it ruins it. And any chance of being serious, you've thrown it out. So just be careful. That's not the same with everyone. You might feel that it works good in your song, but just be cognizant of the fact that certain words might make listeners feel a bit confused with the tone of the music. Rhymes and words. So maybe you can squeeze the word sun in there and that sounds fine, but if you rhyme it with fun, no way. There's no way you're gonna rhyme sun with fun and still be writing a serious song. So definitely be careful and aware of that. The last thing I want to say is to not be afraid to toy with your pronunciation of words and your enunciation. When you're going to sing lyrics, so you've already written some lyrics and you're trying to sing them over the music, something might sound a little like you're sort of pushing the rhythm. You might be trying to squeeze a word in there that doesn't quite fit. Try changing how you pronounce it. So an example of that, this is from a song I'm working on, She's Evil and He Hates Her. So here's a line. I'm going to sing it without changing how I pronounce the word. She's a big bright star with a leading role in the local townsfolk hypocrite show. So the word there was hypocrite, and it's sort of sounding a little off just because the rhythm is being squeezed in there to fit the word. So I'm singing, in the local townsfolk hypocrite show. It doesn't sound too bad, but it could sound better if you just mix the word up how you pronounce it a bit. So how I actually sing it is, she's a big bright star with the leading role in the local townsfolk hypocrite show. So now changing how I pronounce it makes the song flow a little bit better. You know, you would never pronounce the word hypocrite, but when you change that accentuation, it makes the lyrics flow a little better. So that's what I did with that particular line, so that it flows better with the song. So in conclusion, you want to be aware of metaphors and not underusing metaphors, but not overusing them. Make sure you throw in some metaphors and similes into your music to make it more interesting. Change the key of the song when you're trying to sing along to spew out some good lines. Try changing the key because your voice might fit a particular key better, and naturally you'll be able to sing along better to whatever you're playing. You want to avoid cliche rhymes, and you also want to avoid rhymes and words that don't really fit with the tone of your music. And then don't be afraid to change the pronunciation and the enunciation of your words to flow with the song a little bit better. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it helpful. If anyone else has any questions regarding songwriting or anything, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them, be it with just another comment or video if the question merits it. And I will see you guys Thursday for a video that I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Since I'm sick, I can't very well record another song right now. So I might end up doing another tutorial, or I might pick a song off the back of my shelf that I've got sitting around waiting for an upload. So I'll see you guys Thursday. I hope you enjoyed.